I'm going to have to make a small spanner. This one here is too big, 4mm. So I'll do that later on because that's going to take a little bit of time and I want to move on with working on this movement. But I'll make one of those. I'll put it up as a separate video and you can see how I do it. So I'll start off with using some flat-jawed pliers to undo these nuts, but they look like they're pretty tight. That's not going to work. I didn't want to use normal jawed pliers because they may leave a mark on the brass, but I will have to get these things undone. Whoop, if I can just start it a little bit. There we go. I'll run round on these and then I'll see if I can use, gee, they are tight. That's got him. Then I can use flat jaw pliers to open them up because they won't mark anything. That one wasn't too bad, and this is a fourth one. We'll be a bit careful of that balance wheel there. It started moving, I must have touched it, and we'll undo that one. Right, that's not too bad. Now I'll have a look at these pliers, the long nose pliers, see if we can, yeah, that's all right. That's 1, 2, that one will come off pretty easy. It's got a very short post on that one. 2, get a grip on it. 3, and the fourth one. Okay, pliers out of the road. Now we'll spin up on those, get a little tub to put them in. It'll take a while to get these off because they're quite long threads on there. That's one. Little bloke should come straight off. It was a bit hard to get with my gloves on. That's quite loose. That's got him. Right, now the other 2 should run up easily, said he, as they don't move. Another couple of turns. They should. It's going to be obnoxious, obviously. All right, I'll take that off in a moment, off camera. That one should come up easily. Run him up with your finger, then take the last little bit off using 2 fingers, maybe not. All right, flat-jawed pliers, we'll turn it round. That's got him. That's just about got the fourth one off. Hold the 2 plates together, pair of pliers again, and just spin it round. Nope, still tight. Well, this is exciting for me and for you, no doubt. That's got rid of it finally. Right, now I'll bring in some more magnification. Bring that up a tiny bit and drop that down, that's better. Right, now we can see better what we're up against. Now what we've got to do before we take that seems, no, it looks right. It just looks distorted there, looks like it's at an angle. Right, what we're going to do, first up, pair of pliers, there we go. You can see there a tapered pin, and that's holding the end of the hairspring. That's the balance wheel, that's the balance shaft I'm pointing to at the moment. So what we've got to do is remove that tapered pin very carefully. Out it comes, and we need another dish for that, which I'll get in a moment. I'll just check, and that goes all the way through. Now we have to be very careful because we have to take the hairspring out of that pillar and out through that tiny little loop there, which is attached to that lever there, which regulates the length of the spring, thus adjusting the fast and slow speed of it. Pull it out very, very carefully. Out it comes. Right, now turn the movement over, and I've got a little spanner that I made for untightening these nuts. And it's been many years since I've worked on a 2-inch movement. What I'm going to do now is release tension on the balance shaft by turning this nut and being very careful because we want to take the balance wheel out without damaging the hairspring. And I've got my thumb holding the balance wheel at the moment, and I think that feels like it is loose. I'll take that just a tiny bit more, and then we can very, very carefully remove the balance wheel without getting the hairspring caught in anything. And there it is. All right, I'll put that down there. And what I'll do is I'll tighten that little nut up again so we don't lose it. That'll stay there. Also, you'll notice that the fast slow lever here is bent. We'll straighten that up before it goes back in again. All right, hairspring's gone, balance wheel is gone, the mainspring is clamped. We should now be able to safely remove the clamp just jumped off the mainspring. Right, I'll take these wheels out. First up, that guy there. The first wheel goes over the top of it there. All right, what I'm going to have to do now is I don't want to risk taking that mainspring out, even though it's lost my super duper little clamp, which didn't work very well. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an electrical cable tie around that before I move the back plate anymore. Alright, I've got a 4.6mm electrical cable tie here, which is way too small to use in a normal clock spring, but I'll get away with it on this little 2-inch movement with that little spring. If you haven't got any mainspring clamps, then the minimum size electrical cable tie you can use is this one here. You'll see it there, 7.6mm. Don't use anything less than that. You run a very good chance of your spring exploding wide open. If you don't want to use plastic, go for the stainless steel, the same size. You can use stainless steel ones. But because this is a small spring, I'll use this 4.6. Actually, I might have to reverse things here a bit. I'll put those couple of nuts on. I'll put one on that post, one on that post to hold it so that I can wind the spring up a little bit. I have an electrical cable tie over the spring now, and then I put the winder on, wound the spring up tighter, and then put a cable tie on it and tighten it down. I'm now going to remove that nut there that I put on to hold the back plate so that it wouldn't move. Right, pair of pliers, and I'll get that started. It shouldn't be too bad. Couple of half turns, I think. What do we got? Yep, there we go. It'll just run off now. Take that off, put it in the dish. I had to have this cable tie on here so I could secure that wheel down there to stop it from moving. That wheel sits on the minute arbor, which is that arbor there, simply because there's no wheels in there and we've taken the balance wheel and staff out, etc. So when I was tightening the mainspring up, it just kept turning around, running around. It wasn't tightening up. So I'll remove that first once I find my cutters, because we don't need that anymore now. I'll remove that, take it out. That little bit of a whir was the rest of the energy in the spring being absorbed by this cable tie. Right, now we'll slowly start to move the back plate up, and it'll jump a little bit when it comes out. I'll get that last little bit out, being very careful of the spring. There we go. I'll put the wheels back in the correct orientation in a moment, but in the meantime I'm going to take the mainspring out, and there's a little click, and that's the click spring. So later on I'm going to undo the mainspring, take it out, we'll clean it some kerosene, then we'll grease it and we'll wind it up and put it back into its correct position again so that we can reinstall it into the movement. And it looks like there is plenty of gunk in there. That definitely needs cleaning. That's the back plate. Could do with a good clean, which will go into the ultrasonic in a moment. That fast slow lever there will be straightened. I'll straighten that up. See what we've got in here. There doesn't seem to be any damage on anything in there. The holes seem to be round. There didn't seem to be any oval ones in there that we'll have to rebush, which is probably a good thing because they're pretty tiny. That's not in bad shape actually. A bit of oil and grease and stuff on there. I'll wipe that off and then we'll put it in through the ultrasonic cleaner in a moment. I'll do that then, but initially I'll put these wheels back in their correct orientation. Now where's our, there we go. That's the way top plate sits on there. Right, that's the orientation. So now I really need a little box to put that on. I used to have some, but I don't know where they've gone. It's been a long time since I've done a tiny movement like this, and I don't think it's going to sit on there. It's too light. All right. I found a little block of river gum in all my timber I've got down in my workshop. So I turned a new block to put the movement on, and it looks like it's going to fit pretty well. Just sits on the top there like that. So I'm pleased how that's turned out. I don't know where the other ones are, but I'll find them sometime, I guess. But that's a new one for this project. That piece there, I'll turn it up, you can see, nut that I loosened so that I could take the balance staff and the balance wheel out. So that gives us our orientation. So we'll have a look and see. The balance staff sits there. We'll take our balance wheel initially, turn it over very carefully. There are the wheels in their correct orientation. I'll put them back into the front plate. All the brass parts are now going into the ultrasonic for cleaning, and when they come back we'll continue. Well, the parts are back from the ultrasonic cleaner. They've come up pretty well, I think. Yeah, they don't look too bad. We'll run over the plates in a moment with some pegwood and peg out the bushing holes on them. Here's our 3 little wheels, looking very tiny. And we'll polish those pivots too before they go back into the movement. The hour wheel and the minute wheel, put them back in their container so we know where they belong. Our next little tea strainer, see what we got. Couple of small screws. Pop them into a dish. Right here, we've got the pin pallet, that piece there, and the 4 tiny little nuts that hold the movement together. And the last one should be the key, etc. The key and the knurl nut that adjusts the hands. Alright, so they look okay. Right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to peg out the bushing holes on both the plates. So I'll have to clean up the end of the pegwood. It's got gunk on it from when we went through the bushings before they went into the ultrasonic cleaner. Clean that up nice and clean now so we can see what we've got. Now we'll methodically work our way around the pivot holes, turning the pegwood 3 or 4 times, taking it out, having a look to see if there's any dirt on it, and they all look pretty good so far. I'll just run around the rest of these here. No, they look pretty good. I'll do the other side, and then I'll do the back plate off camera because it'll be exactly the same as what I'm doing now. No, still clean. So once again, the ultrasonic cleaner has done a good job. No, that's all right. Down here where the wheels go, they need to be super clean, and be very careful when you're using a fine piece of pegwood in these tiny little holes that you don't push it in too far and snap the end off in it. Because if you snap the end of pegwood off in a tiny little hole like that, you're going to need a very, very fine piece of wire that's still strong enough to get in there and push the end of the pegwood out that you broke in it. Alright, the back plate's done. It's all nice and clean. We have to straighten that regulator lever later on, but we'll do that before we put the movement back together again. You can see the angle it's bent on. Someone's leant on that pretty hard, trying to adjust the fast-slow rate of the movement. Right, back to our 3 little wheels down here. I'll cut them out. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to run over the tiny little pivots on those wheels. And to that end, I started making a new pivot polisher the other day. This is a popsicle stick or an ice cream stick in Australia, and I've glued some 2000 mesh wet and dry sandpaper on it. So what I'm going to do now is, using a razor blade, I'm going to shave the excess off, and around the corner and down the other side. Pull that bit off so I can see what I'm doing. Run the blade down here. Looks like a fair bit of glue on there, I think. The blade's not sliding very easily. Oh, that's a bit better. It's got that. Down around the bottom corner. Doesn't have to be exact, it's just got to be relatively close. Pull that off and then get a start and run down that side. Alright, there we go. Could be slightly neater, but it will solve the problem. It's got excess Titebond 3 glue in it. Alright, I'll throw that out. Now, next step, you'll notice here I have a line on it. That's a midpoint. So I'll cut that with a set of cutters, snap it in half. It's got him. Not exactly very smooth, but trim that bit off, that little bit off there to make it slightly better. Alright, not much of a straight line, but for our purposes that's going to work very well. Next thing we need is some masking tape. I'll cut a piece of that off. Put the 2 bits of our stick side by side with a slight gap in them. And then put the masking tape on the top and press it down. Then pick the sticks up. You'll notice there's a gap there between the left and the right piece. Roll the masking tape over, and then again, and another once or twice. Now, once again, cut the excess off, push that down flat. Now, last thing I'll do is I'll write 2000 on here so we know what we're working with. All we do now is we bend the popsicle sticks over, and there we now have some 2000 mesh on either side that we can line up on that tiny little pivot down there, and once it's there, very carefully spin the wheel, holding the popsicle stick halves together. and you may or may not be able to see, but that is reflecting more light now than it was. Right, down to the other end once again. Hold the popsicle sticks together and spin the wheel. Right, that looks better. It'll be hard for you to see, but I can see the difference here. There's some light shining on the pivots. It doesn't take very much, and a clock of this vintage and this size of pivot, it's not worthwhile putting it on a lathe to run over the pivots and polish them. This is quite sufficient and will do a good enough job for the age of this clock. And this guy over here, we'll run over him. And the last one is the pin pallet. Line up the pivot on our little polisher and very carefully spin it round, because we can do damage to this one very, very easily. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I'll put a little bit more on that. What we're doing is we're just taking off any high spots on the pivot. We're not looking to remove any material from it as such. Now this side is very dangerous because you can see the pins there, one there and one there. Very easily get caught up in your glove or smashed against the side of our polisher, so I'll take that very, very carefully. Yep, that looks all right. Good. Put him over there.